I'd like you all to actually leave here today looking at the world in a very different way. There we go. I'd like actually to leave this place today, and there are a lot of things that we take for granted, I think, in our day-to-day lives, and I tend to sort of kind of operate in a space which is quite special, and it's an area which I think really everyone tends to overlook majorly in their life. So, to start off with, imagine the world that didn't have colour. Because the world as we know it is very colourful. Right. Now, just going to explain this slide a little bit. I actually coined the title The Sensory Guru, and I think the journey that came through me actually sort of achieving that title was probably my survival in a hospitality magazine. Because I think the role that I have, there isn't anyone else in Asia who has the same role. And really what it came from was my passion. And I think passion and perseverance are things that drive people, and they allow people to change the world. Okay? So my background was originally in interior design. I studied interior design in the late 80s. I went out to the market, went to work for a construction firm. The economy in the UK went upside down. No one wanted to spend money on interior design, so I actually went back to college. I got involved in business management. And when I was studying business management, I found the whole marketing space pretty fascinating, about product placement, promotion, and really sort of kind of what makes people buy. And so that's sort of kind of brought me out to Asia, where I came out to work for a company who were providing marketing services using music and messaging. So I think in the mid-90s, I think of Citibank used to be the big brand standard for giving an excellent service. They're one of my clients, and telephone, we used to phone them up, we used to listen to. Ramona Rahman was one of the voice talents there, I think it was Yasmin Yusuf. Having the right types of voices in different spaces and listening to nice music when you were waiting on hold actually was a space which everyone was overlooking, but taken for granted. And if you're not listening to nice things, then you tend to hang up the phone. So I had some brainwaves on making things better. I love transformation. I look at every space and I'm thinking, how can I make it better? And I actually started my company Equal Strategy in '98 in KL, in the middle of the Asian crisis. And we started off primarily helping companies getting the right music on the phone system. So when you saw that advertisement in a magazine or on TV that said, phone this number, when you phoned up, you weren't listening to Kenny G or Ding Dong music, but you were actually listening to music that was more reflective of the brand that you were calling. And that then naturally evolved, where we had clients saying, you put this great music on our phone system, but how about our hotel lobby? How can you help us? And a little bit different, right? I love music, so this is me DJing at the Singapore Formula One party, Podium Lounge, which is probably one of the biggest parties in Singapore. So a little bit different to my sphere as of now, but I have a creative artistic side as well, so this is more from the corporate world, okay? But being able to embrace your passion with what you do and somehow apply it to a business and make them more successful, for me that has meaning. So back to where I was, hotels were saying, hey, can you help us put great music in our hotel lobby? So I did turn their lobbies into a dance party, right? You won't have me playing any Lady Gaga, I'm a bit of an underground house DJ, so that's the sort of music that makes me tick. But one thing I do actually do is I appreciate all forms of music. Whether I personally like them or not, that's not what it's about. It's about, in a business context, helping people get the right sort of music in their business. So the media's had quite a bit of an interest with us over the years. Made my way into FHM even. Had to take my own props. Through to early this year, the Times, was the Daily Telegraph in London, actually went a big feature on the work we're doing. And it's about trying to share this passion and don't look at music just as music, that tick the box with music. Get the music in your space that actually brings it alive. So when I'm looking at my clients, this is a bank. not your typical run-of-the-mill bank, is it? And this is about 3.5 years ago. So this was for UOB Bank. This was a new design concept space where they wanted to try new ideas with using music and also using scent, because scent is another one of the tools within my toolkit that we use to basically engineer an experience within the space. And I like to think of this as people fall in love with being there. Because when you talk about customer loyalty, if you love a space, and if it is always your top of mind, oh, I want to go there, that's precious. And the thing is, how can businesses engineer that and create a space that their customers love? So loyalty, I believe, shouldn't be bought, it should be earned, and that really comes down to businesses to be making things better. So UOB, great little hire. This is a project we did up in Hong Kong for Standard Chartered Bank. It's the most expensive branch in the history of Standard Chartered Bank in Hong Kong. So it had 3 customer segments over 4 different levels. So I created a different sonic experience for each. So, mass market, the service isn't as attentive as it would be for priority banking. Agreed? So you have to wait longer. So there's nothing worse than waiting, sitting and waiting, and you've got music that's high tempo, full of energy. Because you get quite quickly, right? So you flip it around the other way, and we actually deploy real sort of chilled out music, so everyone's very relaxed, chilled. Their perception of their waiting time is actually less than it really was. And we also developed different fragrances for each of the different profiles and different levels. This is Pacific Hotel in Singapore, the marina. We're part of a big rollout for them where they've got this Pacific theme. And so you've got a lot of greens and blues. And so we developed a fragrance there that smells very aquatic and breezy, but it also has these woody undertones in there as well that actually complement the design of that space. And that was about creating an experience that was one of a kind. And an experience that we call the signature experience, because there should only be one. Up in Shanghai, we did a project for New Balance. New Balance is a brand, it's probably about 110 years old now. And they came out with a concept store where they didn't have the budgets to be spending the same money as Nike and Adidas, but they wanted to try and leverage the history of their brand. And being as it was so old, they came across some photos of a New Balance store in Boston. That's where it originated from back in the 50s. So they came up with this as a concept store. Now, on one hand, you could look at that not knowing how it sounds or how it smells, right? But because we wanted to use the 50s as a theme, and it's based on the 50s of that store, all the music came from the 50s. So no Lady Gaga, no Gangnam Style, there's all the doo-wop, Jerry Lewis, Bill Haley comments, and there's a real good fun environment. And then the fragrance we developed used wood, leather and vanilla. So as you went in there, they've got wooden flooring, they've got wooden counters. It really brings the space alive and it complements it. It isn't conflicting. So I think, back to the thing, think of the world with no colour. But when we do add colour to a space, it brings it alive. And something what we need to be doing is thinking about day-to-day life. So here we have a group of ladies catching up with friends over drinks. Here we have some food, English breakfast, sorry I'm too British, so I had to put that up there. The smell of that drives me crazy, okay? In a positive way. The ladies will love this. When you're shopping for jewellery, how does it make you feel when you pick up that and they pass that item to you and you're feeling it and you're holding it? Think of how your emotions are going haywire and you want it, you want to buy it, alright? Retail is all about emotions. It's about people connecting and buying it ultimately in the day. This is a car showroom in Paris I visited about 7 years ago. Renault, pretty radical and dynamic, but they were selling cars. So thinking out of the box is quite important, but really what I'm trying to be getting at here is besides these, now who can guess where these ladies went shopping? Yeah, that's right, you can't read the logo, but you know from the colour of the bag they've been to Tiffany, right? This is branding, and this is all part of sensory branding, because when you bring customers together and you get them in focus groups and you get them talking, people talk about opinions, and our opinions are actually formed using or based upon our experiences. And our experiences are based upon our 5 senses subconsciously gathering information and feeding into here. And it's in here, this is where we decide whether we like it or whether we don't. Alright? Oh, I don't like that place. Why? I don't know, I don't like it. Okay. Oh, your friend don't like him. Why? You know, it's people form opinions, and these opinions actually influence our purchasing decisions. What we're also finding in the marketing space, businesses have traditionally focused very heavily on visual sense. So I don't mean to be putting a squire out of business here, which is focusing on the sense of sight. But we are finding now that businesses are starting to take a stand back and look at their businesses more from a holistic view from the different senses. So let's just quickly fly through the sense of smell. It's amazing. Someone walks past you and they've got a beautiful perfume. You don't think about that, you just respond automatically. Maybe your wife will give you a slap at the same time. Okay? Or you walk past and go, oh, that's awful. You don't think about it, it's a natural response. And actually how this works is the sense of smell is the only sense that's directly connected to the brain centre for memory and emotions. 75% of our decisions are pre-formed subconsciously based upon what we smell. If we're in here and we smelled fire, would we all stay here? I think not, we'd all be out the door. So this is about understanding and embracing. I met this chap, Martin Lindstrom, who wrote a book called Brand Sense, and he sort of really opened my eyes to the world of scent from where I was with music. It was a critical turning point, I think it was around 2004. He's gone into neuroscience, actually with people researching brain receptors on their heads when they go shopping to see when they're looking at products and how that affects the brain, and really sort of kind of get into neuroscience. And he's written a great book called Biology as well, which is about understanding what makes people buy. Now, understanding the science of things is really important. This slide is demonstrating a space in a hotel where before they put scent in the space, they went around asking people what they thought of the quality of the service, how clean it was, whether it was good for their well-being. Never asked, did it smell nice? And everyone scored it. They then deployed a scent in that space, and they found, when they asked the same questions again, the scores were significantly more positive. So the dark green was prior to scent being deployed, the light green was once the scent had been deployed. So this little thing on the end of in front of our face, very, very, very important. We're finding businesses are deploying scent in all sorts of different ways. Walmart's have used scent in the apple department, and basically people went crazy. They were buying apples by the dozens, not one or two or three. Genting Highlands, I mean, we actually sent some of the high-end casino rooms, and we actually diffuse a scent in there that neutralises the smell of tobacco. So people can go and play, they can smoke, but they don't walk out smelling like an ashtray. What they found, the science found, was that people would actually play for longer if they could smoke, but not smell the smoke. Right? So it's about connecting people with the environment. I think everyone's probably familiar with the Shangri-La Hotel Group. Part of their design brief was to smell expensive. And whenever I go to a Shangri-La, and if it's not scented, that lobby, it feels incomplete. Because you expect it. You know, it's all part of that Shangri-La scent, that whichever Shangri you go to, it will smell beautiful. There's one little study I want to quickly fly through. Dr. Alan Hirsch ran a study with a set of Nikes, and he had two rooms, and what they found was they put identical pair in each room. One room had been scented so lightly that you couldn't detect it, and the other room was left alone. And they sent people into these two rooms. They wanted to find whether scent actually had an influence on their buying and purchasing decisions. And what they found was that when people came out from the 2 rooms, they asked them, okay, which trainers did you like? How much do you want to pay for them? And they found that people chose the trainers from the centre room. They're actually prepared to spend $10 to $15 more for those trainers. When asked why, they didn't know why, it was how they felt. So he's done a whole load of other research. So basically what we do as well, there's an artistic element for my role, but there's also a scientific element. Right? Understanding consumer behaviour and what triggers people and makes them do what. It's all very, very, very important. So quickly then moving on to music. We all love music, don't we? Has anyone here experienced when you heard a track that you really love, all the hairs on your arm or your neck stand up? Yeah? Great, right. Why is that? It's how it is, isn't it? We take it that way. But the reason why, dopamine. There's a drug that the body actually releases, controlled by the brain, based upon how we feel. And basically, when people are listening to music they enjoy, their dopamine levels increase. When you go to Gurney Drive and you have your chocolate alright? Or what else that you enjoy as food, and you go, oh, it's really nice, very short, right? You'll find that your dopamine levels again have increased. So this is one of the reasons why, that if you can understand customers within a space, and the type of music that fits them and fits the brand as well, it's all about making people feel good in a space. So very quickly, I'm going to put a fly through here. When we're looking at actually designing spaces, working with clients, and they say, hi, we want you to put the music in our property. So Marina Bay Sands in Singapore, I design all the music profiles throughout that property and done a lot of nice big ones and small ones. But basically we're looking at a whole range of different reference points as to what the design of the space is, what the brand's about. Because if you've got a brand that's positioning itself as being very upmarket and very exclusive, Kenny G should not be there. Alright? Shouldn't be there, alright? Unless it's a Kenny G shop, right? But there's a whole range of different aspects we're looking for as to what the different priorities can be, and also the behaviour you want to create within the space. So that's how it really needs to wrap up now, otherwise I can be here talking all day. But really, it's down to you as individuals, that wherever you work or what you do, or the people you know, there is a role in music. Scent as well is a point of consideration as well. There is a role for scent. But also, together, we can make the world a better place. Thank you.